my name is Carolyn West. I'm a management analyst with the Yolo County Administrator's Office, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough of the Yolo Performance model. Yolo Performance is an effort in the county to implement robust, outcome-driven performance measures throughout our organization. The purpose for this is twofold. First, it serves as a management tool. So this can help us to determine if our programs are being effective, if they're having an impact on the community, and if they are showing a return on investment. Additionally, it has a second function where it can help us to serve as a communication tool. Once we have performance measures that are outcome-based, we can tell our story about a program to our community, to our Board of Supervisors, and even to other departments and our own staff. So to start off, on slide 2, the Yolo Performance model utilizes the results-based accountability format. And this format asks 3 questions for performance measurement. The first is a quality measure, a PM1 measure, and this asks, how much did we do? The second is a quality measure, PM2, that asks, how well did we do it? Both of these are looking at the effort that we put into a program. The third measure asks, is anyone better off? And this is a PM3 measure, performance measurement 3. This outcome measure is what's unique about results-based accountability, because it's really getting at what's the impact that we're having on the population that we serve through a particular program or service. And this is looking at the effect that we're having. So while the first 2 measures, quantity and quality, look at the effort that we're putting in, ultimately what we want to know is if we're having the effect that we want our program to have. And if we aren't, performance measures can help us to kind of take a step back and see some ways to maybe adjust that so we can have that impact and that effect that we want to have through that program. So for the walkthrough, we have a 5-step walkthrough to help you form performance measures in the Yolo Performance model. So the first step is to pick your program. Now, to pick your program, some departments have more defined, specific programs that can somewhat easily fit into developing performance measures. For an example, a food stamp program. That is a fairly defined program. However, some departments, they might have a service or a function that they provide that is outside of a regular program or easily defined program. For example, human resources. They have a recruitment function that they might want to develop performance measures around. And that can be considered, while a service or a function, can still be used as a program to develop performance measures around. So once you've picked your program, you move to step 2, which is developing your purpose statement. Now this can be one of the more difficult aspects of developing performance measures because it causes you to step back and look at the purpose of your program and really see what is the impact you're trying to have. So developing your purpose statement, it's a 1-sentence, succinct statement that really focuses on the outcome you hope to achieve. So what's that impact, that effect that you want for your target population that you're serving through this program, service, or function. So for your target population, this could be different depending on what that program is. For some, their target population is going to be individuals that are out in the community, that's their customer. For other departments, such as human resources or IT, their target population could be other staff within the organization that they're serving. So that could be their customer population. So defining that target population can help you to determine what's that outcome you want and what is the outcome you want for them in this program, because that'll be your program purpose. So this will help you to determine, why is this important? Why is your program important? What's that outcome you want? And you really want to focus on that end result, that outcome in your statement. You want to avoid putting in the means by which you get to that outcome. So an example of this is an immunization clinic. An immunization clinic, their purpose is not to provide immunizations. That is the means by which they get to the outcome they want, which is to reduce or eliminate vaccine-preventable diseases. So a clue that you're getting towards a means statement as opposed to an end statement is the word provide. You want to begin your 1-sentence purpose statement with a descriptive action word, such as increase, decrease, or improve. Those are focusing more towards the ends, the outcome, as opposed to the means. The word provide could lead you more into a means statement. So that's something to look out for in developing that statement. So here are some purpose examples to help you in developing a purpose statement. The first is an example for a substance abuse treatment program. So for this program, their purpose statement is to reduce or eliminate substance abuse. So that outcome they're looking for is eliminating, reducing substance abuse. Clean cut. The second is for an employment center program. So their target population that they're looking to serve is unemployed Yolo County residents. And the outcome they want for them is to increase their employment and maximize their wages. So as you can see with these two purpose statements, they both begin with a descriptive action word, increase, reduce, eliminate, and they also focus on the outcome, not the means by which they're going to get to that outcome. So now that you've had your first example in teaching of purpose statements, now we have a quiz. So for this quiz, there's a parent education class program. Now it's your job to determine which is the better purpose statement. Is it A or is it purpose statement B? So purpose statement A, this purpose statement is to provide weekly classes that teach positive parenting techniques. The second option is B, increase caregivers' knowledge of positive parenting techniques. So determine which is the better purpose statement, A or B. So the correct answer would be B, increase caregivers' knowledge of positive parenting techniques. And ultimately, the reason that it is B is because it's focusing on the ends, on that outcome. They want to increase caregivers' knowledge of positive parenting techniques. So they're looking to measure caregiver, their target population, their change in knowledge, that outcome. Option A would be incorrect, and provide is a clue to that because it's looking at the means. The purpose of parent education classes isn't just to provide weekly classes. That's not measuring an outcome. Rather, the purpose is B. That's increasing caregivers' knowledge. So now that you've developed you picked your program and developed your purpose statement, we move on to step 3, which is developing your PM3 measure, your outcome measure, is anyone better off? So ultimately, the PM3 measure, again, it's looking at an effect, and you want to see what the impact or effectiveness have been of your program. And this can be measured as a change in skills or knowledge, of attitude or opinion, or behavior or circumstance. And this can be measured as both a number and a percent. However, it's best, when applicable, to provide both the number and the percent. This helps to provide context to the data that you're providing to the performance measure. For example, you could say that have a measure that says 75% of participants had an increase in knowledge as a result of a program. Now, you might be able to determine the impact of this program and have a little bit more context to it if you knew that there were 300 participants as opposed to 10 participants. So having the number and the percent helps you have a little bit more understanding as to that program and the effect that it's had. So the purpose statement is directly linked to your PM3 measure, because in your purpose statement, you were determining what is the outcome that you want to achieve for a program. So now that you're developing your outcome measure, you can already know what the outcome is that you want. Now you just need to put it into a measure. So here are 2 examples of a program with a purpose statement and their outcome measures. So the first program is looking at foster care placement. And the purpose statement says, prevent foster care placement for children at risk of removal and reduce time in care for children who enter foster care. So as you can see underlined, there are 2 outcome measures in this purpose statement: to measure that care placement for children at risk of removal and to reduce time in care. So automatically you're going to have 2 outcome measures that you're going to be measuring, and those are shown on the right. This is going to look at the number and percent of children at risk of removal, and then the number of days children are in foster care. So it's directly measuring those 2 outcomes. The second program is a food placard program. So their purpose statement is to improve compliance at retail food facilities and reduce incidences of foodborne illness. So there's 2 outcomes in this purpose statement again. One is compliance at retail food facilities, and the second is incidence of foodborne illness. So those are the 2 outcomes you're going to want to measure on the right. So they provide, for their measures, number and percent of restaurants that receive a green rating at inspection. So that's going to be measuring their outcome for whether or not there's been compliance. And their second measure is the number of foodborne illness reports. And that's going to be looking at the number of incidents, so that measuring that incidence of foodborne illness. So now that you've developed your program purpose and your outcome purpose statements, or your outcome measures, now you move to step 4. And this is where it gets a little bit easier. For step 4, you're going to be gathering your quantity measures and asking, how much did we do? So a lot of this is numbers and data that we generally already have. So things such as your number of staff, functions and percentages, your personnel costs, contracts, grants, number of customers, and this helps to provide more context to your program. The next step is step 5, and that is looking at your quality measures, so putting those together. And again, this asks how well did we do it? And this is measuring generally as it's shown as a percentage or a ratio, and it looks at effectiveness. This can be cost effectiveness, cost per person. It also looks at workload ratios, so how many staff you have compared to how many workloads, how many cases per employee. This could be wait times, timeliness for a customer, how long it takes to see them, and also customer satisfaction, because your customers can tell you how well you're doing by how you treat them, how long they had to wait, things along those lines. So as you can tell from developing your performance measurements, sometimes to get the data you need for your performance measures, you might have to conduct a survey, generally of the target population you're serving. So there are 2 different types of surveys that you may utilize based on if it's a quality measure or an outcome measure, a PM3 measure. So if you're doing a survey for a question for a quality measure, this is generally looking at the quality of your effort. So the questions you're going to be asking your customers, those you're serving, is how well did we do? Were we nice and polite? Did we listen to your concerns? Did we make you wait a long time? So things that are really looking towards customer satisfaction, timeliness, those how well are we doing? For a survey for an outcome measure, this is going to be looking at if you're having that impact, if your program is having the impact and that effect that you want it to have. So you'd be asking your target population, your customer, did we help you learn new skills? Did we increase your knowledge? Do you feel better? So looking at that change, if that program had that effect. So here's an example of a completed Yolo Performance model for a Bridge to Housing program. So the name of the program is Bridge to Housing, and their purpose is to permanently house individuals living on the riverbank in West Sacramento and increase benefits and the level of their income. So you can see from the purpose statement, there are 3 outcomes that they're looking to have for their target population, which is individuals living on the riverbank, so homeless individuals. The first is they want to permanently house them, then they want to increase their benefits, and they want to increase the level of their income. So since there are 3 purpose outcomes they want, there's going to be 3 outcome measures to measure that. So they're going to look at the percent and number of participants who completed the program and secured permanent housing. So that's one outcome. They'll also look at the number and percent of participants with increased benefits and the number and percent of participants that increase their income. So they'll have 3 outcomes. And then after that, they also provide a quantity and a quality measure. Their quantity measure looks at the number of people who participated in the program, so a number there. And the quality is going to be looking at how well they did. So the measure they've picked is the percent and the number of participants that remained engaged at the end of the program. So this is looking how well they were doing in keeping individuals engaged in that program. So now that you've learned how to walk through performance measures, there are some resources available to help you develop performance measures of your own for a program or service. So if on the Inside YOLO website, there's a YOLO Performance link, which will have templates to help you get started making performance measures and that further resources to help you in that. And there's also a YOLO Performance work group that has been formed, made up of individuals, a representative from each department in the county, and that list of their names is available on the website and can help you kind of link up to an individual in your department that can help in developing these performance measures. And also the contact for myself at the County Administrator's Office to assist as well. Thank you.